Okay, first thing, like the video. Thank you. So I saw this video from Altcoin Daily and he speaks to TJ, he's interviewing him. So the interview makes TJ look really good. So he looks calm, professional, he answers all the questions, and compared to BitBoy's videos, he's a lot better. And I just certain points I want to speak about. And the only part that I don't think is right is the essay allegations against Ben. They seem a bit don't they seem a bit sus. So we'll get to that. So I'm not gonna look through the whole video, I'm just gonna play a certain section.
Ben own the majority of the company? I think you mentioned he owns 67%.
Yes, he does. He owns 67% of the company. I own 33% of the company. And if we want to go through the timeline of events that led up to the execution of the clause, because it really wasn't a firing, it was an exercise of the a clause within the operating agreement.
Okay, tell me about it.
The clause, well, do you want the storyline first or the clause first? Okay. So, unfortunately, in the reasons we listed, we never mentioned anything about his personal life, his personal choices. That wasn't one of the reasons listed. However, it was part of some of the drama leading up to how we got to the point that we're at. And there is quite a lot there. So I would say sometime in the end of July, one of our head in the finance department, bright young star, he's been working with us for a long time. He ended up quitting the company for moral and ethical reasons. He came to me and basically said, some of the things he was being forced to do by Ben, he wasn't comfortable with. I'm not going to go into the details of those things at this time, but he came to me with that, and he shared with me that he was concerned that Ben had a large gambling problem. And he was sharing me some of those concerns.
So I thought the allegations didn't include gambling, but the reason one of the allegations is he was embezzling funds from the company, like £50,000, $50,000. So using the money he was embezzling to gamble with. This is what TJ is pretty much saying.
Some of the details around that, and it was quite a lot. So I came to Ben to address some of those issues with him, and he acknowledged them and said, he basically said, yes, this is all true. I do have some gambling issues. I've been trying to handle them. I've been trying to get things taken care of. And it's all better now. I've got it handled. I'm good. I've got it under control, is more or less what he said. Then not long.
So Ben did actually make a video today. He didn't deny this accusation, but he did say he's gonna go through this video and make a response to everything being said in this video. Also, he said he's gonna take like a week off break, and he's gonna go treat his anxiety or PST or some kind of anxiety problem. Like
after that is when a lot of this other stuff started really escalating, where I was hearing his assistant was coming to me with concerns about Ben on the substance abuse level, and some of his behavior she'd been witnessing, and some of the emotional distress that she was in. And then basically one day, it was a Thursday afternoon, middle of August. I was out of the office on an offsite meeting all day, and he started to come into the office and tell a lot of the employees that him and his wife had gotten in a big fight, and that he was going to be leaving his wife.
Damn, he was planning on leaving his wife. Well, this is what TJ is saying, because two sides to every story. The truth is somewhere in between. So I wonder if Ben Armstrong will respond to this.
They're going to be getting a divorce, and Ben did this. Yeah, he came in and started talking to employees about this in the office. I wasn't even in the office. and then you started kind of at the same time also asking people like, who's willing to move to Dubai with me, and just kind of going around.
I do remember him. His plans were to move to Dubai. He's made videos in Dubai saying that he's going to move to Dubai. So it's not, TJ is not making this up. It's true.
I'm asking a lot of different employees that, and people were like, what's going on? I've no, like, I'm not moving to Dubai. And they were kind of it was just a very confusing situation. So that next Friday, I came, and so that night, actually, this is Thursday night, I heard somebody say like, yeah, like Ben didn't really call me, I don't think, or maybe he did. But somehow I heard that he'd been in the office telling everybody this, and I drove by Thursday night, saw his car parked out front of the building. I was like, oh man, like he's probably sleeping there. I need to go check on him. He probably doesn't need to be alone. I've been through a divorce before. Like I know.
So his wife, he's saying his wife kicked him out and he had to sleep in the car. But they've made the video. Ben has made videos with his wife and they seem okay. So I don't know if they made up again or what's happening.
How brutal it is and how confusing it is and how overwhelming and just it's hell. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. And I would say, other than this past month, like this past month has been the most stressful month of my life, other than when I went through a divorce. But so I drove in Thursday, saw his car parked out front, came in Thursday night late here, hoping to talk to him. I figured he didn't want to be here alone. And unfortunately he wasn't. I walked in and it was him and Cassie here at 11:30. Which was a pretty awkward conversation, and I just removed myself as quickly as I could. And then Friday, that next day is when him and I had to have that conversation, where I was like, hey man, like maybe we can go to the woods for a little while. I know you're going through a stressful time. Like, let's just get away from this. Let's not try to make any major decisions right now. Because again, I from experience know how confusing and how it does, like you don't know what's up, you don't know what's sideways, you don't know
to the woods.
Well, we have a property in Kentucky that his uncle lives on. And it's like a hunting property with some cabins. And so it's basically like, hey, let's go to Kentucky for a week. We don't have to work right now. We don't have, like, he was worried about a video or whatever. I'm like, just forget about videos, forget about work. We don't have to, you don't have to make a decision right now about any of these major things. We just need to step away from all of this and not be, definitely we don't need to be doing this all here in the building with our employees. That's for sure. We need to get away. And he was like, he said something like he didn't know if he wanted to, he does a lot of traveling. He just got back. He feels like he doesn't really want to travel right now. So I said, all right, well, whatever, let's just get out of the office and not, let's just step away from all of this instead of trying to make it all happen all at once. And so later on that afternoon is when we actually talked about his relationship with Cassie for the first time. And where he was basically saying, I basically had to tell him, look, man, a lot of people are aware of that relationship. And I don't know who exactly specifically, I just know a lot of people are. It's, like it was very much apparent in Miami and several different places.
I did see a picture of Cassie. She is attractive, but don't you think she has tiny little shark teeth? Like teeth of shark. The animal that's in the ocean.
This is apparently, they'd been on a cruise in the past that a lot of people had seen different stuff on, and there was rumors, and it was just a very well-known thing amongst our employees. I didn't know how many, we've got 30, 40 employees, maybe 15 or 20 of them knew. I didn't know for sure. I tried to stay very far away from this situation, because he made it clear based on, things that had happened in the past that he wanted no input from anybody on his personal life. Speaking of like that Atozi situation and everything that happened a year ago, this is not kind of our first rodeo with this situation. And it had turned into things in the past, where when people talked to him about it, he made it very clear he didn't want to hear their opinion. And, it ended with documented, issues with employees for the company, so it was clear that he didn't want to know, or he didn't care what anybody thought about his personal life. And I didn't want to get involved with his personal life at all. His personal life is his decision. But at this point, once he came in and started talking to all the employees about it, I had to have this conversation with him and say, hey, you know, a lot of people know about this, right? And
why is he talking to his employees about his personal life? Shouldn't that you keep that? He needs to like keep his personal. He needs to realize these people he's working for is not his family. They're just his employees, and his real family is his real family. But these guys are just his employees, and they don't want to. They probably don't want to hear it either. They just want to come to work and do their thing.
he was apparently shocked by that. Hold on one second.
See, seems
I
calm.
still want to know how the firing happened.
I know it's a lot, man. This is a lot to get to.
No, I appreciate it. This is exactly what I want. But yeah.
Okay. So Friday afternoon we had that conversation, and then basically, so this is when things started to accelerate. Is Saturday, him and I were supposed to meet up somewhere. We didn't end up meeting up. Again, I was trying to get him out of the office. I think we were trying to play pickleball. He didn't show up, but he texts me and basically says, hey, I talked to another employee about the situation and they acted like they didn't know what's going on. So I need you to give me a list right now of every single employee who knows about the situation so I can confront them, more or less.
Dude, why does he need a list of everybody who knows about his affair? That's weird.
And that was obviously a concerning text for me to get over the weekend. So he sent me a text message basically asking for a list of all the employees who knew 100% or who knew about his affair so he could confront them and have a conversation with them and basically handle his situation about people knowing his business. And at this point, that was a very concerning text message to get, because in the past, when he had come to me with that request, as soon as he got the information, he immediately went and confronted the employee. It led to an altercation that basically ended up a settlement for the company that cost the company money, and it was a very serious event for the company a year ago.
What, did he physically fight that employee?
A physical altercation.
Yes.
Okay.
And so when this happened, I got this text message and I didn't really know what to do, because I knew if I gave him the information, it was going to be volatile. And if I didn't give him the information, he was going to absolutely attack me, or that's what I thought. So I called my business mentor and I just said, hey, Dave, what should I do here in this situation? And he said, you absolutely cannot give him that list. You can't put employees in harm's way. And that's what you need to tell him. When he asks for that list, say, I'm sorry, I just can't put employees in harm's way.
Definitely, if he's going to hit them. Or he's going to make another lawsuit where the company needs his money. You don't want to give him that list.
And so on Saturday afternoon, I was driving in the car. My wife and baby were in the car with me. I was pulling up to Best Buy. I was going to try to get a TV for my house. And I called him to basically tell him, hey, I can't give you that list. And when I said those words, he went into full rage mode on me and threatened to kill me, threatened to beat me to death, said if I ever come in the building again, I was done, threatened to burn the entire business to the ground, basically threatened to do everything that he's doing right now. Said, I'm going to, I'll go after your dad, I'll go after everybody, I'll destroy the whole business, I'll make sure everybody loses their job. If you don't do what I want, I will make sure everything burns. I basically told him, I know you will, because I know you, and I know that's how you
Yeah, that's what he has been doing.
Operate. But I still can't give you this list, and I just can't do it. Yeah, I said, I know you'll do all those things, but I simply just can't give you this list. I can't put other people in harm's way. And in this conversation, I let him know, like, hey, I talked with your uncle about us going out to Kentucky. I still really think that's the best option. And when he knew I talked to his uncle, he absolutely went ballistic on me, because he said, like, oh, that's like telling your mom. And in my defense, he had told me previously, his one person in his life that if everything hits the fan, the person you need to call is my Uncle Tim, because you can trust my Uncle Tim no matter what. He's my person that will always have my back when I don't know what to do, when I don't know who to trust. call Uncle Tim. He had told me that in the past. His uncle had told me that in the past. And so that's what I did out of concern for my friend, because this was more than I knew how to handle. And when he knew I called his Uncle Tim, he got very, very upset about that. And in the conversation was yelling and screaming at me, basically blaming me for not stopping his actions earlier, saying if I cared about the company, I would have done something, I would have prevented him from making his mistakes somehow. So basically blaming me for his mistakes. And he literally said, my biggest problem was that I cared more about Ben personally than I did the company. And that if I cared about the company, then I would be acting differently. Which hit me pretty hard, because I think I believe that. I did care more about Ben than the company up until this point. I care about Ben as a person. I'm not a money person like he is. Like, I care more about people than I do about money. And this is financially devastating for me. This is not a money thing for me.
Let's move on a little bit here.
So yeah, he basically threatened me, said if I returned to the office, he would beat me to death, said, all sorts of threatening things, basically, at that point. Sunday, wouldn't take my calls. Monday office. Employees badly. I didn't do any of these things. He's just angry now that it's coming out and that there's after me full, I went in there to talk to him. I'm just like, hey man, we want to talk about some of these things. Are we going to be able to work together? Do you think we can work this out? And he was saying yes, and I said, I think I rolled my eye. He said something to me that made me roll my eyes, and that's a trigger for him. And was like, hey man, we want to talk about some of these things. Are we going to be able to work together? Do you think we can work this out? And he was saying yes, and I said, I think I rolled my eye. He said something to me that made me roll my eyes, and that's a trigger for him. And when I rolled my eyes, he just full-fledged.
Okay, let's go to misappropriation of funds.
Let's, as with many things in life, like the devil is in the details. Details matter. We mentioned some of it, but I want to go allegation by allegation that's already public and get your basis for them. So we sort of talked about drugs already, but let's just start with misappropriation of funds. Like, specifically, how did Ben do that?
There was a variety of ways he did that. I'm not going to get into all of them. One of the ones that was cited in the complaints, we had a lot of NFTs, Bored Apes, Mutant Apes, several other NFTs that were company assets that he would basically leverage. You put up collateral, take a loan against it, use it for gambling, and then lost the asset. So he lost several $100,000 worth of NFT assets. We also had our corporate.
So TJ saying dude's got a major gambling problem, which might explain why he was asking for donations for a lawyer.
Portfolios that we used to show and do videos for. We would do a portfolio video every Friday. And then at one point, he more or less just drained all those portfolios, sent those to stake. So a lot of funds disappearing.
So, if you think about it, one of his sponsors are a gambling thing, what do you call it, a stake gambling. Remember, you see those ads playing. So, I don't know, maybe there's some truth in his gambling. Well, that doesn't mean he's got a gambling problem, but I just thought it was interesting.
To different places, unauthorized movements of funds, to personal, business funds going into personal places or to gambling places, as well as, all sorts of stuff on travel. And, there's a lot when it comes to misappropriation of funds. But to be honest, I don't really want to go.
Ben does seem a bit messy, so I do. His business and personal life, he does mix everything up. So I do think he probably mixed up all his funds. And I remember one of his videos said, "I've never seen the books," and TJ is going to be scared if the books are ever opened. And you saying the books are definitely cooked.
Into too many of those details for a variety of reasons. Yeah.
So you no longer have the Bored Ape?
No, with two Bored Apes.
Ben will say, I've heard him say that he owns 67% of the company. So he's entitled to an equity draw of 67% of the assets. If he wants to do something with it, it's his company.
He is entitled to a 67% owner's draw, and he's taken well more than 67% of his owner's draw. Like, so that's not how I think the biggest issue with a lot of this is Ben really doesn't understand the difference between himself and
The company is Ben's own personal bank. He'll just take whatever he wants.
company. He says I own 67% of the company, which is true, but he acts like he owns 100% of the company. And when you own 67% of the company, you can't just do whatever you want with all the assets all the time. So he took an owner's draw home every single week. When I said he withdrew millions of dollars from the company, it's because he did. Millions of dollars from the company he took home personally. And that's for his 67% of his owner's draw. That doesn't mean you can do whatever you want with the corporate funds and the corporate balance sheet. I mean, you understand business, like you know the difference between a corporate treasury and your personal bank account, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I don't know why Ben would have given up this control. I guess there was no following at the beginning, but it's like if it's his vision, he's the main guy. He chose to give that up in the beginning, and then the chickens come to roost now. Thoughts?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't. What do you mean?
So this is the part.
And the sexual
SA allegation, which I find interesting.
harassment, assault allegations. To me, that's the biggest unknown in terms of what are you alleging?
I mean, I'm not alleging anything myself.
Or in your public statement.
Yes.
Where did he touch you, TJ? Let us know. Maybe he did. You never know. I mean, Ben could be touching anybody, allegedly.
There are allegations against him for both sexual assault and sexual harassment. And people brought that stuff to me. And, I guess what is your question specifically?
My question is that when you mentioned sexual assault / harassment in your official statement, what is that allegation?
Yeah, what counts as sexual assault or sexual harassment? Like, was he hugging people too much? Probably not allowed to hug your employees. Maybe, yeah, I could imagine that he was hugging people. Or maybe if that counts as sexual harassment. Or maybe he was patting people on the back or something. That might count as SA or harassment.
Specifically?
That is a very real, very serious allegation. And it's verified. There are witnesses, and that's something that will be playing out that shouldn't be taken lightly. I feel like a lot of people have been glossing over that the whole time, and it's very serious.
Dude, it's serious, but it's only coming out now when you've had a problem with your partner, BitBoy. I don't know why didn't you respond to that before? And there's nobody seems to come out and said anything about it. You didn't break up the partnership because there was these allegations. It's just right now you've had a falling out with him that these allegations are coming out of nowhere.
And it's not a joke.
I've heard Ben say something like, "Oh, I humped, Nick," or something like that. That is what he's saying. I don't think he's saying it's trivial. He didn't say this, but maybe just horseplay or something.
Yeah, you're just playing around. I mean, you can make it into a he's just joking like one of the lads. He's just joking around.
Are you guys talking about the same incident?
There's more than just that, is what I'll say. And
that's not really an incident.
There's a lot to it. And it's not, like I said, it's not a joke. And if he's saying that's a joke, it's not funny. But that's not the main point. I'll say that.
All right. Is the allegation against Ben and a guy or Ben and a girl?
It's against Ben and multiple men.
Come on now. You really think Ben is doing multiple things to multiple men? I just don't buy it. I mean, I could be wrong. Ben could be doing things that, could be bisexual. I don't know. Because I never knew he would having another woman on the side or an open relationship with his wife. So, is there a possibility? Yeah, there's a possibility. But I think it's just they're throwing as much mud on him as possible. I think they've already got things they can go at him and break up the partnership, but this adding this extra part with this this essay assault thing's a bit too far. I just find it hard to believe. I'll need to see more proof.
And do you think you're not alleging that Ben is like? Why would he do that? Like, because you're not alleging that he's
He
gay.
doesn't believe
He's
it.
having an affair with a woman. So why? What is in your opinion?
I mean, you'll have to ask Ben that. I have no idea why he would be doing what he's doing. Like I said, there was a lot of employee abuse going on. Some of it sexual, some of it not. And
A lot abuse going on. But you've never brought this up before with BitBoy?
I have no idea why anybody would be treating other people this way. I was shocked and appalled when I heard a lot of the statements. And it was like I couldn't believe how much it was that I didn't see for how much I was around. It was just shocking. I don't even know how to describe it.
Let's talk.
Yeah, that sounds a bit like he's lying there.
About the incident that has been more public. Not that this has to do with that.
If he's lying about this one thing, then what else is TJ lying about? That's the only problem. I think he should not have brought this up.
Application, but his relationship with Cassie, both parties have talked about that. In your announcement firing Ben, Hit Network.
Okay, donations to Ben. That's what we're gonna listen to.
How do you feel about Ben asking his followers to donate money for the lawsuit?
I think that's pretty low. I don't think people should be donating money to him.
It seems like he's in the nice house. He has the Rolex. At least he did it a couple of videos ago. Is, in your opinion, like, does he really need the money, or why would he do something like that if he has those assets?
I think he wants them. I think he wants the money, and he doesn't want to sell the assets.
This next question, that's actually the last big question, but then I want to talk about Discover Crypto.
So, yeah, it's weird. He's asking for the money. Early in this video, TJ says that Ben is drawing millions every month, like over a million every month from the company, and that's because he owns 67%. So that's his share. So he doesn't really, either he's gambling all his money away and that's why he needed donations, or he just didn't want to spend his own money. Interesting. So check out this video. It'll be linked in the description of my description and the original video. If you like my video, like it, subscribe, share, comment down below. Thank you very much. Bye.